On February 8th, 2022, the nominations for the 94th Academy Awards ceremony will be unveiled. What films and performances are going to make it in? And what's not going to make the final cut? Here are my nominations predictions in the top 8 categories. First up, adapted screenplay. So these are the 4 locks in my mind for adapted screenplay. The Power of the Dog, which will likely be a frontrunner for Best Picture. West Side Story. Now that's a musical, so it's maybe not your go-to to consider as a lock for nomination, but that's Tony Kushner. You don't want to vote against Tony Kushner. He's definitely going to be nominated for West Side Story. The Lost Daughter has had tons of buzz for the last few weeks. I'm not 100% sure it's going to get in for picture, but I'm pretty sure it's going to make it in for adapted screenplay. And then the other movie I would consider a lock is Coda. Since I saw that movie last August, it has stayed with me. It is one of my 2 or 3 favorite films of 2021. I don't know about some of the other top races, but I do know Coda will definitely make it in for adapted screenplay. So that leaves a 5th slot. If Dune hadn't ended on such a cliffhanger, I might have put that with my other 4 potential nominees. But because of the last 30-40 minutes of Dune, I don't think it's going to make it in. Tick, Tick, Boom is another possible nomination, but I'm going to go with The Tragedy of Macbeth. I don't think The Tragedy of Macbeth will make it in for picture, but I feel like it has just enough buzz. Kenneth Branagh got in here in 1997 for his screenplay for Hamlet. They like Shakespeare. I'm going to go with The Tragedy of Macbeth. So my predictions in the adapted screenplay category are The Power of the Dog, West Side Story, The Lost Daughter, Coda, and The Tragedy of Macbeth. I think original screenplay is the easiest one to predict, all 5 nominations, because there aren't too many alternates. I would consider it's not one of those where there are 6 favorites and I have to pick one. Like the alternates I would go with are A Hero. I mean, maybe Mask could get in, I don't know. I think it's pretty well set. Belfast is one of the top 2 or 3 contenders for Best Picture. That's definitely getting in. Paul Thomas Anderson gets nominated almost every time he makes a new movie, and people love Licorice Pizza, so he's in. Being the Ricardos is not a movie I loved, but it's Aaron Sorkin. Enough people are enjoying it. Nicole Kidman's performance is a huge standout. Aaron Sorkin, of course, has won before. He's a sure thing in this category. Don't Look Up is on the bubble for Best Picture. I don't think it's going to make it in for Director, but so many people have seen that movie. Came out right at the end of December. I think that gets in for Screenplay. And then the last slot, I think, goes to King Richard. I think King Richard, it showed up at SAG and Ensemble. Of course, Will Smith is the frontrunner for Best Actor. King Richard, to me, would be the 5th and final slot. So my predictions for original screenplay are Belfast, Licorice Pizza, Being the Ricardos, Don't Look Up, and King Richard. Next up is the supporting actors category, where I think there are 3 locks. I think there are 3 people we know are going to be nominated. Ariana DeBose for West Side Story. She's the front runner right now. I would put money on Ariana DeBose winning at this point, unless West Side Story, just for some reason between now and the end of March, crashes and burns at all these award ceremonies. I think Ariana DeBose pretty much has this in the bag. The other 2 for sure nominations, I would say, are Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog and Katrina Balfe for Belfast. They showed up at the Golden Globes. They showed up at SAG. They showed up at the Critics' Choice. I mean, these 3 are about 99.9% sure things for Oscar nominations. Then we get to some people that are on the bubble. Ruth Negga, in passing, is maybe the biggest question mark. She made it in at SAG. Passing isn't really showing up anywhere else in any other categories, not for Best Actress, not for Picture. So I don't know if there'll be enough passion for the movie to get Ruth Negga all the way to the Oscars, but Ruth Negga got that surprise nomination in 2017 for Loving, and that's what makes me think Ruth Negga will make it in. It's a great performance. That movie needs to be recognized somewhere in these top 8 categories. I think Negga is the one who makes it happen. Then it comes down to the 5th and final slot. Cate Blanchett made it in at SAG. I don't think Cate Blanchett gets nominated at the Oscars. It's possible. I don't think enough people love Nightmare Alley. That movie has kind of come and gone. I think it'll get a few technical nominations. I don't think Blanchett gets in. Rita Moreno, maybe. She showed up in the Critics' Choice nominations. But I don't know, because there's so much passion and love for Ariana DeBosa's performance, I just don't know if Rita Moreno gets in. And then there's Anjanou Ellis. She might be the surprise 5th nominee, but I'm going with kind of a wild card here. My 5th slot goes to Marlee Matlin in Coda. Coda has been all over award season. It's one of my favorite films from last year. Marlee Matlin, even though she hasn't shown up at the Critics' Choice, at the Golden Globes, at SAG, I just have a feeling about her because she won an Academy Award in 1987 for Best Actress for Children of a Lesser God, and has never really shown up on the Oscar scene since. This might be her last chance to get an Oscar nomination. She's so great in the film. Troy Kotsur is winning awards, getting nominated all over the place. I feel like those two are a unit in that movie. So I'm going to go with a wild card. She probably won't get in, but just in case she does, no guts, no glory, right? I'm going to go with Matlin. So my predictions for supporting actress nominees are Ariana DeBose in West Side Story, Kirsten Dunst in The Power of the Dog, Katrina Balfe for Belfast, Ruth Negga for Passing, and Marlee Matlin for Coda. Unlike supporting actress, I would say there's only 2 sure things for supporting actor: Cody Smith-McPhee for The Power of the Dog, and Troy Kotsur for Coda. Those are the 2 I think are for sure going to happen. I'm pretty sure Jared Leto gets in for House of Gucci. It's a very big, flashy performance. He didn't quite make it in last year for The Little Things, but I feel like this time, because of the love for House of Gucci and the prosthetics on his face and just everything, the whole package, I think Leto will get in this time. And then that leaves 2 more, and this is tricky. There might be a nomination that comes out of left field that I'm not even thinking about right now. I would say there's 4 that could get in here, 2 slots available. Bradley Cooper for Licorice Pizza, Kieran Hines and Jamie Dornan for Belfast, and J.K. Simmons for Being the Ricardos. He's one of the best parts of that movie. I thought he was fantastic. J.K. Simmons, of course, won an Academy Award for Whiplash a few years ago. But I don't think he's going to make it. I think it's down to Cooper, Hines, and Dornan. So the question is, do both Hines and Dornan get in the way they did at the Golden Globes? But something's telling me they won't both get in because neither one got in for SAG. Bradley Cooper did. I feel like enough people like Licorice Pizza that it'll show up in at least one acting category. So I'm going to go with Bradley Cooper for Licorice Pizza. Bradley Cooper also is in Nightmare Alley, another end-of-the-year movie. It would kind of be a way to honor him in both Licorice Pizza and Nightmare Alley. So I'm going to go with Cooper there. The last slot for me goes to either Kieran Hines for Belfast or Jamie Dornan for Belfast. Dornan is younger. I feel like he has more to prove. He's still the 50 Shades of Grey guy in some ways, and especially to some voters. So I'm going to go with Kieran Hines for the last slot. My predictions for the supporting actor nominations are Cody Smith-McPhee for The Power of the Dog, Troy Kotsur for Coda, Jared Leto for House of Gucci, Bradley Cooper for Licorice Pizza, and Kieran Hines for Belfast. In the actress category, I'm going nuclear, I guess they would say. I'm going to pull out a couple huge surprises here. I'll probably be yelling at myself later for this because this seems really wild to me. I just looked at a couple predictions lists and I'm not seeing this anywhere. But I am going to do something nuts. I am going to predict in the Best Actress category, Jessica Chastain misses. I'm going to predict that Chastain does not make it in for actress. It's been a thing with her. So many times she's gotten close but didn't quite make it. Of course she got in at SAG, but I have seen her movie, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, nowhere else. Nothing. This might be the craziest prediction of this whole video. I might be completely out of my mind. But I'm not feeling Jessica Chastain has a nomination in the bag. I feel like there could be 1 or 2 surprises in this category. I think there are 3 locks for sure. I think Nicole Kidman, of course, gets in for Being the Ricardos. Lady Gaga makes it in for House of Gucci. And Olivia Colman gets in for The Lost Daughter. I think those 3 are locked. Those 3 are set. They're happening. So then we get to the other 2. It could be Jennifer Hudson. She made it in at SAG. I don't know if there's enough love for that movie, so she's an alternate right now. Rachel Zegler. If enough people watch and love West Side Story, I think Zegler has a shot for that 5th slot. But I'm going with a couple wild cards here. My 4th slot goes to Kristen Stewart for Spencer. I think when it comes to the Oscars, I think they're going to recognize the beauty of her performance in that movie. I think, even though she missed at SAG, I think Kristen Stewart makes it in for Spencer. The 5th slot, I would say likely will be Jessica Chastain. This is probably insane. This is probably ridiculous why I'm even going here. Every few years there's that surprise 5th nomination, someone who was kind of on the bubble, didn't really get in anywhere else, didn't make it in at the Golden Globes or SAG, but shows up in the Oscar nominations list and you're shocked. I'm thinking especially of 2 people, Charlotte Rampling in 45 Years and Marion Cotillard for 2 Days, One Night. Those 2 kind of came out of nowhere. I feel like actress has a little bit of wiggle room for a surprise nominee like that. Someone from a foreign film, an actress that we love, who's been nominated before, who's won before, that we haven't seen at the Oscars in a while. I'm going to predict the 5th and final nominee for Best Actress will be Penelope Cruz for Parallel Mothers. So my predictions for the actress nominations are Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos, Lady Gaga for House of Gucci, Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter, Kristen Stewart for Spencer, and Penelope Cruz for Parallel Mothers. In the Best Actor category, we have 3 locks. We have Will Smith for King Richard. He's the frontrunner for this award. There's Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom. He's definitely getting in here, even though the movie Tick, Tick, Boom isn't really showing up anywhere else, and that gives me a little bit of pause. I think his win at the Golden Globes, he made it in at SAG. Garfield has had an incredible year. He's been in 3 movies that have been a part of the conversation. I think Andrew Garfield makes it in. The Power of the Dog is so well loved. Benedict Cumberbatch, he's been nominated before. I think Benedict Cumberbatch is here. So we have 3 locks. The other 2 slots are a bit up for grabs. The biggest question mark is Javier Bardem. He made it in at SAG. He's a great actor. He's won an Academy Award before. Everybody loves him. Nicole Kidman is the frontrunner for Best Actress, so it would make sense that Bardem would at least be nominated, but he's an alternate for me right now, as is Peter Dinklage, Nicolas Cage, and some of these other people who are in acclaimed movies, but they're just not going over the edge. I'm thinking Denzel Washington gets in for The Tragedy of Macbeth. You don't ever count out Denzel. Even if the movie isn't as well loved as some of his others, I think about that Roman Israel movie he was in that he got nominated for the year after Fences. Remember, that was kind of a surprise. And he's playing Macbeth, one of the great characters. I think Denzel Washington definitely makes it in. And then the 5th slot, I am not sure about this. I'm like maybe 75-80% on this. But I feel like enough people are liking Don't Look Up. Leonardo DiCaprio always gets nominated at the Oscars. He was nominated for Wolf of Wall Street, and then he was nominated for The Revenant and won, and then he was nominated for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's great in the movie. Say what you want about Don't Look Up. He's really great in it. He's in a lot of the film. It comes down to DiCaprio or Bardem. DiCaprio missed at SAG, but I just don't know if there's enough passion for Javier Bardem and Being the Ricardos. I'm going to go with DiCaprio for Don't Look Up. So my predictions for the actor nominations are Will Smith for King Richard, Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom, Benedict Cumberbatch for The Power of the Dog, Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth, and Leonardo DiCaprio for Don't Look Up. In the directing category, I would say there are 4 locks. I would say there's 4 people that have a pretty damn good shot of getting in. Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog. I think she's the front runner to win. Kenneth Branagh for Belfast. That movie's been beloved this whole award season. I think Branagh gets in for sure. Steven Spielberg has not had a director nomination in a while. His last nomination was for Lincoln 9 years ago. Even though West Side Story underperformed at the box office, anyone who has seen it has been dazzled by that film. I think Spielberg definitely gets in. Paul Thomas Anderson has still not won an Academy Award. It'd be really cool to see him win in the screenplay category because he's never won. and he's just done such great work for over 20 years now. I think he makes it in for Licorice Pizza. Everybody loves that movie. Everybody loves Anderson. I think he makes it in. So it's that fifth slot. That's a question mark. Denis Villeneuve has a shot. Maggie Gyllenhaal, I think she could surprise here. But for that fifth slot, I'm thinking of that Cold War nomination. I'm thinking of the Another Round nomination. Usually the director's branch, they nominate a director of a foreign film. But the movie that keeps winning Best Picture at all these critics awards is Drive My Car. I think that movie gets one giant Oscar nomination. I think it'll be in the directing category. So my fifth slot would go to Ryosuke Hamaguchi for Drive My Car. My predictions in the directing nominations are Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog, Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, Steven Spielberg for West Side Story, Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza, and Ryosuke Hamaguchi for Drive My Car. Finally, there's the Best Picture category. This year, we are getting 10 nominees. It's not 8, it's not 9. We're finally going back to 10 nominations. I would say there are 12 movies fighting it out for 10 slots. 12 movies. 7 of them are sure things. What are absolutely getting in for Best Picture are The Power of the Dog, Belfast, West Side Story, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Coda, and Dune. I think if there were 8 nominees, maybe Dune misses out, but with 10, I don't know how you ignore Dune. I think that's definitely getting in. So that's 7. Tick, Tick, Boom, I don't think it'll make it in for director, for Lin-Manuel Miranda, but I do think it'll make it in for picture. It is a fantastic movie in every way. I think that makes it for picture. The Lost Daughter has been so well reviewed. I think it gets in for screenplay, actress. I think it's a little bit on the bubble, but I'm predicting now that Lost Daughter gets in. So that 10th slot, I would say goes to Drive My Car, being the Ricardos, Don't Look Up, or Spider-Man No Way Home. I don't know if that's just... I think Spider-Man No Way Home could be a surprise nomination since there's 10. It is a Spider-Man sequel, so that... I'm not feeling the Black Panther love there for Spider-Man, so I don't think it makes it. So my 10th slot, I don't think there's enough love for being the Ricardos as a movie. So I'm going to go with Don't Look Up for that 10th slot. So my predictions in the picture nominations are The Power of the Dog, Belfast, West Side Story, King Richard, Dune, Licorice Pizza, Coda, Tick, Tick, Boom, The Lost Daughter, and Don't Look Up. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what you think is going to be nominated at the 94th Academy Awards. Were there any categories where you thought I got it all wrong? We'll find out on February 8th. See you next time.